Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. To be honest, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to talk about. I got a couple of ideas here, but right now I'm just out enjoying the sunshine. Oh, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You're probably wondering what you're watching. Well, I'm just out here walking. And you may ask yourself, well, Bob, why would I be interested in you walking? Well, because just a little over 8 months ago, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand up for more than 2.5 minutes at a time without severe pain. Arthritis, spinal stenosis. All my joints were bad. My back hurt all the time. And now I'm out here walking. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. About 40 more subscribers away from 3,000 last time I checked. I don't actually check, it's when I go in looking for comments on my control page, there's a number of subscribers is right there at the top center, so I can't help but notice every time it changes. But today is one of those days. The whole reason I'm down here in North Carolina, it's not that it's 70 degrees out today, although that is a big part of it. It's supposed to be in the low to mid 70s the next couple of days, then cool back off, but not terrible. But back home in Omaha right now, they're getting a big winter storm. It's not super cold yet. We're getting some freezing rain, followed by some snow, followed by some cold temperatures after the front goes through, so all that snow is going to stick in place, freeze in place. Not exactly what I was after. It's a little windy out today, so I apologize if there's wind noise on this video. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I can do about that with the setup I've got. And that tumble I took down the hill a couple of weeks ago has certainly set back my progress on getting stronger in my arms so I can carry my big camera around with me to record these vlogs on. But on that note, my shoulder is feeling much better. Still got a little pain, not a lot, just a little. Got my trekking poles out again, and I can start to put some pressure on the trekking poles. So I'm hoping in another day or two to get out onto the trail and do a trail hike. Because I never dreamed I'd be able to do that 8 months ago. And now that I've been kind of grounded from doing that till my shoulder heals, I kind of miss it. Not that I am not still super happy about being out here, being able to walk laps around the parking lot. Because I really like this too. But hiking on a trail is something different. The scenery changes from point A to point B until you get back to where you started. Where this, it's very nice out here. I mean, got some big tall trees surrounding the parking lot. fields across the street, And I mean, if you go back when I first got here, there were still flowers blooming all across over there on the other side of the road. I even tried to zoom in a little bit with my phone and capture some of those. They didn't come out real well, but there were flowers there. I saw another one of those commercials today. I won't say what it's for. Just a drug. And one of the things struck me about this drug. It's supposed to prevent, I remember, but we're not going to say what condition it's supposed to help prevent. But, you know, the final disclaimer on the commercial is, do not take this drug if you've had an allergic reaction to this drug or are allergic to its ingredients. First off, having to say something like that shows what our medical system has become. How in the world do you have to tell somebody, you know, like, let's say you got a peanut allergy and you've known you've had a peanut allergy forever. Do they have to put on jars of peanut butter not to eat the peanut butter if you're allergic to the peanut butter? Now, I understand there's a lot of things that have peanut oil and peanuts in them, and those types of things have to have a little thing on them that say contains peanuts. But saying don't take this drug if you've ever had an allergic reaction to it tells me that you've taken the drug before. Which means they're expecting you to have to take it again. How is this possible? Because, you know, I was always taught, you know, with a certain class of drugs, you know, I got some of them when I was a kid, and we never worried about it again because they actually did their job. I don't know, I guess I'm just saying it kind of seems like they're just sort of guessing at some of this stuff today. I sort of hope, even though that's kind of vague, I sort of hope everybody gets what I'm talking about here, because there are certain things that you can say online and certain things that you can't say. And I'm trying to cover this topic and still stay within what I'm allowed to say. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's talk about the carnivore diet. It's unbelievable. The changes that have happened in my life just over the last 8 months. 8 months ago, I had just gotten home for the spring, back to Omaha. Could barely stand up. And I decided that, you know, you've heard this story before, that I found Dr. Barry and a few others while I was sitting here, but I was in the process of packing up to head home. But I was stopping in Ohio for a week and a half or so to visit with my sister and my mom before I headed on back to Omaha for the summer. Loud truck. And I didn't feel it would be correct to show up at my sister's house and say, oh, by the way, I'm starting a new diet. You got to feed me all meat. So I waited till I got home. Got home on May the 8th. Started on May the 9th, the day before my 59th birthday. As I look back now, so many changes. Not the least of which is me out here walking. I mean, if you'd told me 8 months ago that in 8 months, actually at about the 7.5 month mark, you're going to do almost 12 miles, I'd have laughed at you and called a couple friends of mine that work in mental health, had you checked out. Because that would have seemed like just absolute crazy talk. Here I am. It's never too late to change your life. My fatty liver is gone. My stage 1 chronic kidney disease is gone. My type 2 diabetes is gone. The 13 drugs I took in the morning and the 9 I took at night, they're gone too. In 8 short months. But the biggest thing, those are all lab related things. Because unless you're getting seriously critical, you can't really feel a fatty liver. You can't really feel stage 1 chronic kidney disease. Maybe a little. But even type 2 diabetes, until either you put yourself in a sugar coma by eating too much, or you have body parts that start to not work as well, you don't really feel type 2 diabetes. And what this is all about is how I feel. Now, I have never actually felt, because you hear a lot of people talking about that great big burst of energy. I won't say I've ever actually had that huge burst of energy that some people talk about. But if you compare today to 8 months ago, my energy levels are through the roof. Considering I've always been kind of a lazy guy, I would much rather be sitting on the couch watching TV. But I know sitting on the couch watching TV or sitting down in front of a screen to film these YouTube videos would be counterproductive. It's not good for you to just sit on the couch watching TV. And if I was sitting down in front of a screen just talking to the camera about the Carnivore Diet and things like that, I don't think I'd have, more than 400 or 500 subscribers at best, maybe even not that many. Because as I've always said, the primary focus of this channel is just showing you that you can do it. And hopefully coming up with some interesting things to talk about along the way. I mean, I was circling the drain. And here I am out here walking every day. And if I can do it, then you can do it. You can tell your friends how to do it. Tell your family how to do it. Oh. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained today, guys, because it's just, I just said in a couple videos ago that I'm so tired of being cold, and yesterday it rained all day. I didn't get to get out and get a walk in. I hope you enjoyed that little cooking video I did yesterday. As you can see, I'm no world-class chef, but I managed to get the job done well enough. A little bit longer pauses in this video because I'm once again trying to walk a little faster. And to be honest, I'm still trying to think of things to say. So it is, I think this video comes out on the 19th. I didn't look at the calendar. I think today's the 18th. And tomorrow's the 19th. I know it's Wednesday here, and you'll see it on Thursday, whatever that works out to be. So we're more than halfway through January. I hope everybody, even if you aren't successful with what you decided to do, even if you don't exactly hit all the goals you thought you were going to hit, like me staying on the lion diet, but having to buy some pork to keep the cost down, that's okay. That all goes back to the 1% better. Because even if you've slipped up a little bit on your eating plan, whatever you decided to do, whether it was cut out dairy or try the lion diet or try a strict carnivore diet or beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, or whatever it was you decided to try for January, if you're successful, half of the days, that's 15 or 16 days, 15 and a half days actually, because there's 31 days in January. I'm right on that, I think. 30 days, that's September, June, yeah, 31 days in January. Well, each of those days count as 1% better. So don't look at it as, well, I didn't quite reach my goals this month. Look at it as, I reached more than half the goals I set out for myself for this month. Sorry, the talking on this video isn't very good, but after being so cold for so long, even with the wind, this 70 degrees feels really nice. Really nice. But I think tomorrow I'm going to actually get out here because it's supposed to be warmer tomorrow. Calling for a high of 76. I'm probably going to get the trekking poles out and do laps around the parking lot like I normally do. Just in case my shoulder gets tired, I want to give it a good workout with the poles. Because the last thing I want to do is get 2 or 3 miles back in on one of the trails and then discover that using my poles hurt and have to spend the next several hours slowly working my way back out of there. That wouldn't be any good. But yeah, I'm gonna have to change the loop here just a little bit, because I need to go back over here to the building for something. Okay, I'm back again. But with the magic of editing, it was like I was never gone. Let's just say that pork I had last night is not sitting with me quite as well as beef does. It was really good, and there's nothing super bad. Just say it's not sitting with me as well as beef does. And of course, I was in the teen center there, and the church staff was having their lunch. And they asked me if I wanted anything, because they always do, and I always say no thank you, but thanks for the offer. They actually had a big pan of ribs in there, which seems like it'd be okay until you glance at them and see they're just literally covered in this barbecue sauce that you know has at least a little bit of brown sugar in it, maybe some vegetable oil, who knows what else. How can you ruin a perfectly good rib that way? And I get it. I used to eat ribs like that too. Not anymore. But yeah, let's talk about sauces and spices and things like that. There's nothing wrong. And if you look at the keto channels and any of the cooking type channels, you'll find recipes for making your own spice mixes. And there's nothing wrong with using those. However, what I would suggest as you're just getting started, or you're in the middle of your journey and you've just been eating salt, and now you're like, oh, I think this taco seasoning that Nisha has a recipe for, that sounds really good. I think I'll make that and dump that in my ground beef and have a little taco bowl tonight. Well, don't start there. Pick your favorite spice, whether it be just like we do with food. Pick your favorite spice, whether it be pepper or garlic or red pepper or whatever that spice is, and just add that. Now, some people will know right away if that spice agrees with them or not, but I'd give it at least a week just to make sure, and then add the next spice and see what your body reacts to and what it doesn't. And then once you're sure, because there are some, I think it's called Primal Kitchen, they make some pretty good clean spices, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have tried each of the ingredients in their spice mixes by themselves for a little bit to see how your body reacts. Because even if you buy a super clean taco seasoning, dump it on your meat and eat it, and you have some kind of reaction to it, how are you going to know which one it was? You won't. So just like with adding foods back in, like me, I added a bunch of pork in yesterday, and I had a little reaction to it, not a big reaction, and It's a reaction I'm willing to live with to keep my diet at a more affordable level. So make sure whether it be foods or spices, sauces and rubs, make sure you're adding things in one ingredient at a time. And if you're like me, I don't have any down here, but I still got a bottle of it at home in Omaha. One of the things I do like to put on my burger patties once in a great while is yellow mustard. I don't have any reaction to it. It's just mustard seed and vinegar, basically, is all mustard is. Unlike ketchup, where if you were to do the actual experiment and you know how to extract the sugar from the ketchup, you would discover that more than half, but not quite 3/4 of a ketchup bottle is straight up sugar. So, mustard on burgers is pretty good. But that's one of those things that I experimented with a long time ago when I was first getting started and discovered I could have it without any side effects. I haven't had it in ages. I'll probably have to reintroduce it slowly when I get home to Omaha just to see how I react now. And see, that's the thing to keep in mind, and really what the main point of today's video is. Just because you were good with something 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, you may have actually been having a little reaction to it and didn't really notice it because you've always had that reaction. But now it's time to start adding things back in if you're at that point. And all of a sudden you realize you can't do this. This thing causes me a reaction. So certain foods and spices and rubs and sauces we may have been fine with 3 months ago. But we may not be fine with it now. So don't just say, I'm going to add some crushed red pepper. And I like this sauce and it's got clean ingredients and I've never had any trouble with it. So you add the sauce and the red pepper to your meat. And then you have a reaction. And now all of a sudden you're thinking, maybe, you're thinking the red pepper is what did it to you. But it might be the sauce that you were perfectly fine with 3 months ago. So I guess all I'm saying is be careful as you're adding things into your diet. Provided you want to add things into your diet. If I could afford it at this point, I'd be perfectly happy eating steak with salt for every meal of every day for the rest of my life. But I like ground beef, and that's just going to have to do. I like that pork, and I'm going to have to use some of that because the price of beef is getting stupid in some spots. Not all the time, if you go to the store and shop the sales, you can still do pretty good. If you've got the freezer space, I suggest going to Sam's Club or Costco, buying their big hunks of meat and cutting them up into meals because that saves you a lot of money. But just be careful when you're adding stuff to your diet. Even if it was perfectly fine 3 months ago, it might not be perfectly fine today. So be sure and reintroduce stuff slowly. And for now, it's such a pretty day out. I have no idea what the music's going to be today, but I'm going to find something that fits my mood of how nice it is. So let's see what I found. Cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. Such a beautiful day out. But just remember, as you're adding things back, if you're to the point where you want to try and add some things back into your diet, and you may never reach that point. You may be perfectly happy to eat just ruminant meat, salt, and water forever. And I totally get that. But if you're to the point where you need to add stuff back, or you want to add a few things back, make sure you do it the right way. One ingredient at a time. One little bit at a time, and see how you react to it. Because our bodies are always changing. Just like I always say, if you find something that's working, there's no reason to change until it's no longer working. Then you have to play with it a little bit. This is the same thing. Just be careful Take it one step at a time. And if you have a reaction to something, especially if it's something you really love, like me, I love eggs, but I still have a little reaction to them, I'll give it another couple months and try again. Because whatever it is may resolve itself. We're always changing. If every day were exactly the same, it would be pretty boring out here, wouldn't it? Well, anyway, that's what I've got for you today, folks. I am planning on walking a whole bunch more today, and somewhere in here I will put how much I ended up doing for you. Because I do want to get a lot more walking in today because it's such a beautiful day out. But don't forget to get out there, be 1% better. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.